Good morning, I'm Sunshine, and I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's type puzzles. And today, instead of just doing a solve, I wanted to go through, I found some of my old works in progress, the trial and error as I was creating the ABCube methods. I found some of them, and I wanted to go through them today because I thought that would just be fun. This one is before I had it named. It says, simple solve for every cube, a two-formula solution to all puzzle cubes. The formulas in this book will solve any six-sided cube, but not all cubes are drawn. For all examples that can be represented by a 3x3x3 will be. Later steps will be represented by the simplest that can be used. We will first solve the cube using only two formulas. Then we will review the reversed formulas, which will provide shortcuts. However, all cubes can be solved with only these 2 or 4 formulas. These two formulas apply to all cubes, including digital ones. Look at the front page and see the cube slices as columns and rows. Formula A moves one column and one row. Formula B moves the top row and 2 columns. For each step, this book will tell you which of the formulas to apply and which rows and columns to move. The only difficult part in solving the cube is to ignore and keep stable the remainder of the cube that is not one or two of the rows and columns in play. The cube can be rotated freely in between chapters, but it must be kept stable in the middle of a formula or chaos results. Not all cubes are traditionally colored, and you should be able to start with a color of your choice, so this book uses non-traditional colors. Substitute for the actual colors on your cube and continue. Here's an example of cubes that are not traditionally colored. Here's a cube that red and orange are next to each other. Has all the same colors. Blue and green are next to each other, all the same colors, but in different patterns. In comparison, the standardized colors are now red, white, and blue in this formation. Yellow opposite red, green opposite blue, and orange opposite red, yellow opposite white. So we've got these 3 colors, and add yellow to them for the opposites. So another cube that's incorrect, that's not standardly colored. This one has pink and I guess 2 colors of pink on it, and the green and blue again are next to each other. And this one, white and yellow are together, and green and blue are together. Red and orange are opposites, the only ones. So if you have cubes like these, you have to pick which color. You have to work with the colors that your cube has. So, Formula 1 is used on corners. All size cubes ignore centers, moves far right column and bottom row. And then we have Formula A is listed here. 6 times returns it to start. Formula 2, which I came to call Formula B, so I could name it the ABCube method, is used on corners. All size cubes ignore the centers, moves the outside columns and the top row. I came across some earlier work. I used 3 arrows instead of 2, which I came to find out was less than ideal because it couldn't translate to larger cubes, so you'd end up having 5 or 6 arrows and it'd be harder to see, whereas if just the arrow represents the one slice you move, and the straight line represents everything else. Completing step 1 will result in all corner cubies being arranged like this. So from no pattern at all to the corners are done, and we don't care about the centers or the edges. And then, like I said, I started off being color neutral. So your cube has 8 corners. Select one. Let me give an example here. Select one, and then your corner has 3 colors. Select one. So in this case, I've selected the red, green, and yellow corner. I've selected yellow as my corner. The cube you selected is correct, And all of the cubies will be positioned in relation to your selected cube. The color you selected, represented here by purple, is the color we will work on first. And so you select a cube, and we make everything else match that. And so you chose purple because most of the cubes don't have purple, and you can translate that in your head for any other color. We will begin by manipulating the front right top corner until all of the top corner colors match your selected color. Using Formula 1, when your cube looks like the second image, go to the next chapter. Okay. If both top front colors match, slide to the left the top row, and determine if the two new cubes match on top. If all four match, go to the next chapter, and when the front two cubes do not match, go to the next page. Is the selected, so they don't match, and then you look at where on this cube it might be. Is the selected color on your cube of the cubie you're working with on the cubie, but the corner is not positioned correctly? So is it on the front of this cubie, or is it on the right of this cube? If yes, do Formula A 2 times. If the first image is now if the first image is now solved, go back a page. If second image is now the first image, repeat this page. Rotate your cube. Okay, so rotate your cube slightly forward to get a good look at the corner. Okay, so looking at this corner cube, is the color on it or is the color not on it? If the color is not on it at all, then rotate your cube slightly forward to get a good look at the bottom of the cube. Is your color anywhere on this cubie? So that would be on this cubie right here. If yes, do Formula A once, and then it will be on top, and you can go back to this page. And then your goal, the next goal is to go from when your color is on top to do the sides match. Keeping the top and bottom stable, rotate the cube. Right becomes front. Okay. All right. You're rotating the cube. Right becomes front. So to look at all four corners. Rotate the cube 3 times to evaluate if the top corners match each other on the sides. Either no sides will match, all will, or only one will. If all do, advance to the next chapter. If one does, position the matching side in the back, and if none do, any side can be front. If any sides match, they should be positioned to the back away from you. If there is a match, this page will be needed only once. If there's no matches, this page will be done twice total. So then you do this is Formula B, and you go from your color on top, but the corners don't match, to the one corner is still correct, and you need to go back to Formula A to bring your color back to the top. It says, don't get discouraged. You are farther along than it looks right now. This looks like the first step, but questions aren't necessary like in the first step. Do Formula A 2 times, then rotate the top. And then do all of that 3 times. This stage will either be complete, go to the next chapter, or may need to be done again, go back 1 page, depending on whether or not you had the one or no corners matched. You can see that this is... All of your top corners are now correct. Rotate your cube so the top becomes the bottom. Boom. There is one color in common with all of the now 4 corners. And that's why you have to figure out what that is, because you might have a stupid cube like this that's not standard colored. So if we did the yellow, for example, then when you put the yellow down, on these two cubes it would be white, but on this cube it would be green. So it says there is now one color in common with all of the now top four corners. This becomes the working color next. And so okay. With this new color, again, we will use purple for the working color. And here shows a picture of the bottom corners being correct, and the next goal is to get the top corners all correct, and correct to the bottom corners. This step makes it look like the bottom is messing up, but as long as you don't rotate the cube during this phase, the bottom returns to start after 6 times doing Formula 1, and it will take a multiple of 6 times to complete this phase. So this, as long as you don't twist the cube in the middle of your formulas, doing whatever the B's and the A's will always be a multiple of, it'll get the bottom back to staying solved. Do Formula A 2 times. If color is not on top, repeat this page. If color is on top, rotate the top to the left, and then repeat this page. So it's the same. Doing the bottom, the second 4 is the same as doing the top 4. Again, we will check the sides by rotating. Right becomes front 3 times to look at the sides. If any side matches, it is positioned to the back. If all sides match, go forward 2 pages. And if one side's matched, the page will be done once. If no match, twice. If they all match, go to the next chapter. And then you do Formula B and flip the page and go back to Formula. Okay. You have almost completed the corners. Do Formula A 2 times and then rotate the top 3 times. Reassess each side. If all match, you go next page. If one side matches, go back 1 page. Now your bottom 4 corners are correct to each other, and as are the top 4 corners. We will now rotate the top row if needed to match the top corners to the bottom corners. Rotate the top to the left once, as needed up to 3 times. Congratulations, if your cube is a 2x2, you have finished. If not, continue with the next chapter. And that, oh nope, aha, there's more. Okay, Formula 1 is used on the absolute center. If it's odd-sized cubes, only the center moves on odd-sized cubes. Doing 3 times returns to start. So if someone has done boxes on your cube, for example, do Formula A using the center and the center row and center column, fixes the boxes. It rotates these around the top, front, and right. If the 3 colors match, doing Formula A will get you back. So this way again. So out, down, in, up. Is this a new method? So sorry, you guys. I forgot to watch the chat. Yes, this is a new method. This is ABCube method. You see here are the only 2 formulas that we use. I'm the only yes, they are commutators, so that it's a mathematical 0. That's my cat falling from the window. They are commutators, so it's a mathematical 0. So the only cubes you're ever moving are the 3 that you intend to move. Can you teach me again? Absolutely. Today I've just been going through this book. Was one of my, I'll come back to this next week. This book was one of the early examples of me creating the method. It's steps along the way. So first you solve the corners. Yes. Give me just a minute. Here's a 4x4, and I will scramble this real quick. Etc. Okay, so I'm working with the music guy. All right, do you want to work with yellow, or do you want to pick your own color? Oh, what 4x4 is it? I don't know. I've bought many. I don't remember which one it is, and it doesn't have a pattern. It doesn't have the logo on it. Any color. Okay. What do I average? For solving a 3x3, I average about 1.5 minutes, but for teaching all cubes, I average about 1.5 hours. I can teach anybody any cube, and so I usually teach with a 5 to start with. Let's pick yellow. I like yellow. Okay, so I found a yellow, and it's in the upper left corner. So I'm going to next look at this corner right here. The first step is to bring the yellow corner to the top. I'm ignoring everything but the corners. I'm only looking at the corners. So here's my yellow. Okay? Hi, duckman, duck. Okay, so here's yellow. So I look at this corner. Is there a yellow on this cube? If there is, I'm going to do formula. If there is, I'm going to look and see whether it's on the top or not the top. If there's not, I'm going to look at the corner under here. Is there a particular method to solve the corners too? Yes, I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to walk right through that. So, is there a yellow on this corner? No. I look below it. Is there a yellow on this corner? Yes. So, formula A switches these two cubes around. So, I move this cube away from the action. I move this space down. I move this cube into the space and move the space and the cube back up again. And I don't have to memorize different things because formula A is always going to keep doing this. So I do it up to 5 times, and I stop whenever the yellow gets to the top. When the yellow is on the top, then I move it out of the way, and I keep working with this corner. Now I don't rotate the cube because if the bottoms were solved, it'd be messing up. As long as you don't rotate the cube during the solve, it's going to do. You can also do the inverse, yes. Okay, so these two, I move this out of the way. Is there yellow on this corner? The answer is no. So is there yellow on this corner? The answer is again no. So rotate the bottom 1/4 turn until the answer is yes. And there's my yellow. Formula A will bring it to the top. Out, down, in, up. And there it is on the top. Move it out of the way to protect it. There's no yellow here. Is there a yellow here? No. Rotate the bottom by 1/4 turns until there is a yellow. And I don't teach the inverse. You can do the inverse, and people can figure that out on their own. I don't teach the inverse so that brand new beginners can just do just the A and just the B and still get the same results. So out, down, in, up. It's at the top, but it's not correctly. So out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, and it's at the top. So that was step 1, is to get your yellow corners to the top. Step 2 is to look and see whether the side colors matches. We're ignoring everything but the corners at this point in time. So green does not equal blue, red does not equal green, orange equals orange. So one side matches. Either none of them match, all of them match, or one side matches. If one side matches, it goes to the back. And then I move to formula B. We're working on the corners, so we're using the blue arrow is the top row, and the red and yellow arrows are the left and right columns, and that's going to move. And the way you know what that is that the first column is where the cube is going to end up, and the second column is where the cubes begin. So this cube is going to end up over here. So this is the first column, and this is the second column. I'm going to do formula B. So away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Yes, better for beginners. You can do it faster. But also, if you are not a beginner, I have found that for myself, it's if I don't have to take time to decide whether or not to do the clockwise algorithm or the counterclockwise algorithm, I can just do it once or twice as needed, and so I don't have to stop and take time to evaluate what the cube looks like. I just go right into doing it. So I did formula B. Now I need to bring the yellow back to the top. Formula A. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. It's to the top. I move it out of the way, keeping the cube stable. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Move it out of the way, keeping the cube stable. One more time. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Okay, so now the yellow's back to the top, and the corners are correct to each other. So the first 4 corners are done. You can move them to the bottom. Boom. Okay, and then because not all cubes are standard colors, you have to look and see what your top color is going to be. And so this cube has an orange, this one has an orange, this one does not, so it's not orange. This one has a blue, this one has a blue, this one does not, so it's not blue, so it's white. This one has a white, this one has a white, this one has a white, this one has a white. So white is our next color. Yes, so formula A brings your chosen color to the top, which in this case is white. So these 2 are going to switch. So we go out, down, in, up, and we always do it twice now because we're on the second set of corners. Out, down, in, up. Rotate it out of the way. Bring the white to the top again. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Move it out of the way. Keep going. And yes, I could do the inverse here, but I'm not because for beginners. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Keep going. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Yes, it's easier for the beginners, and then once you get an understanding of how the cube itself works, the mechanics of the cube, then you can start finding different ways for shortcuts and things like that. So it's very good for a basic understanding, and then you can use your shortcuts and cheats and other things in order to increase your speed. So white's on top. We like to see the corners match, and none of them do. So it doesn't matter which way we start to begin. We do formula B, which is the top row and the left and right columns. Over, up, back, up, over, down, back, down, and then A will bring the white back to the top again. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Move it out of the way. Keep the cube stable. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. If I'm going too fast, just tell me to slow down. Slide it out of the way. Formula A again. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. And now the white's on top again. We look at the sides. There's one that's correct, one that matches, it's orange, so it goes to the back. And then we do the same thing again, formula B, and then A will bring the color back to the top. So over, up, first up, over, second up, over, first down, over, second down. There is a tutorial on YouTube. Let me bring my white to the top again, then I'll tell you where the YouTube is. So out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Rotate the top, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Rotate the top, once more, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. White's on the top again, corners are correct to each other. Now we look to see if the top is correct to the bottom and rotate it in quarter turns until they are. So now the 8 corners are all correct to each other. If it was a 2x2 it'd be done, but every other cube you now have your cheat guide to what colors are going to be where. Now, is it on YouTube? Yes. Unfortunately, I have not optimized it for search engines very well yet. I need help with that. But if you go to youtube.com/@ABCube method. Did I invent this in my childhood? No, I taught the cube as a child. It came out in '81. I was in middle school, and I bought the book, The Simple Solution to Rubik's Cube by Norse, I think it was, memorized it, and then used that method. But the thing is that I taught people that method. What am I age right now? I'm 56 now. So I taught them. So I just taught the method that I learned, the simple solution, the typical beginner's method. But my friends would come with their cube, and I'd say, "Okay, do this. This is what it looks like. Do this and solve it." And they'd do that and then come back. And so then their friends would join the circle, and their friends joined the circle, and then. By unspoken decree, the bullies had to stop bullying me so that they could ask me for help. So, yeah, I am one of the oldest cubers. So I just started teaching everybody, and so that's how they stopped bullying me in middle school and in high school, was because if they bullied me, I wasn't teaching them. So yeah, so that's the method that I learned, and just a typical beginner's method. This was back before the standardized notation, and of course before the 4x4 existed. When the 4x4 came out, I got my daddy to buy me a cube, and I got it halfway solved, and the cube broke. And the cubes were not real popular, and I couldn't find another one, and so I actually went 10 or 20 years without knowing how to solve the 4x4. That is the rarest way to stop the bullies, yes. So how I came up with this method is I learned the 4x4, I got the 5x5, and now we've got YouTube tutorials on how to learn everything. And I got the 5x5, I was trying to learn the 5x5, and I was having a hard time remembering the algorithms. The algorithms were hard, especially the parity algorithms. I just, it's like the parity algorithm that I used was, I'm looking at my chat stream, and it's going down to the bottom. Is it going to go up again, or are you guys going off the screen? I hope we don't lose you guys in my chat. I'm new to streaming, but this is how my kids said to reach everybody. So I got the 5x5. I looked at the algorithm for the last method, the last piece to solve, which in my case was the center. So I took that commutation to solve the last piece, and I wrote it out in arrows on a piece of paper rather than the letters, so that I could, because I'm more visual, so I can see which direction the arrows are going. So I mapped out, it was like 27 moves long. I mapped it out, then I treated it like a mathematical equation and said, okay, there's a left goes up on this side, and there's a left goes down on this side, so I'm going to cross them out. So I simplified it as if it were a mathematical equation, and when I did that, what I ended up with in the middle was one simple quarter turn, like that, or like that. It didn't matter. It was one simple quarter turn. And when you look at I was working at the same time I was learning that, my son was working on a void cube. I'm reaching for my void cube here. Give me just 1 second. So my son scrambled the void cube and tried to solve it again, and it came up with a parity, which you can't get on a 3x3 because you're paying attention to where the center is. But on the parity, on the void cube, and on a 4x4, you cannot see the center cubes, the center twists. But the cube, mathematics of the cube, make it how, neither do I stream, I'm 16, okay. Good muscle memory. Yeah. I don't do the Alex. Everything, the entire cube can be solved with just the A and the B, including all the parities. So you don't need to learn anything more than just the A and the B. The Alex are very good for speed, shortening the number of moves you have to do, but you can do the whole cube with just the A and B. So when he had a parity on the 3x3, he realized it was because the center, the invisible center, was a quarter turn off. And so if you have a parity, whether it's anytime there's two pieces, yesterday I did a twitch on the corner parity. You can look at that later on. But if it's edges, whether they're opposite each other, and this one's supposed to be there and that one's supposed to be there, or whether they're this next to each other, or whether they're side by side because you tried to pair up the edges. When you do the centers, pair up the edges, the reductionist method, you're more likely to get the parities, and you're more likely to have to undo them later. When you do it, the corners first and then the edges, you see the parities, you still have a couple parities, but you see them and you can undo them rather than solving them. And by undoing them, what I mean is, if all of the corners all the edges are correct except for two, that is the row that is a quarter turn off. And if you rotate it a quarter turn, that's going, let's say these are correct and these two are not. I could do that. Let me show you. I have a parity pre-filled here. Okay. Here's a parity. These two. I actually have two parities, so don't get confused. I was just showing that parities can look at different areas. But this is the row that is a quarter turn off. So if you do I have one? Don't have one. If you rotate that row 1/4 turn and then solve the edges again, the parity has disappeared. But you still have you have to redo these centers again, which is why I always do the centers last. So long story short, back to how I created the method. I took the algorithm for solving the last center on the 5x5, drew it out. It was the formula B that I've got right there. So I drew it out instead of numbers, instead of letters, I drew it out in arrows, and I thought, well, what happens if I take that and I do it on a 2x2? And what happened was formula B on a 2x2 moves the corners around. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't need these 3 algorithms for corners anymore because this will do it. What happens if I do it on a center and an edge? Well, that moves the edges around. If you do an outside column and an inner column, that moves the edges around. So I'm like, well, don't need those algorithms anymore either. I can do this one. So I figured out that I can do everything on the cube just using A and B, which means I don't have to remember which algorithm to use and when to use it and in which order. I just have to do because it just moves what I want. And then if you get a parity, then all you need to do is make a 1/4 turn and solve again, and your cube is solved. Do you guys want me to keep going on this cube, or do you have questions for me? Does anybody have questions for me? I saw yup, so I'm going to keep doing this cube. All right, so the corners are correct to each other, and I've been training my eyes to look for the whites and the yellows, so I'm going to keep working on whites and yellows. So I move the cube so that yellow and white are left and right. And I'm going to find a yellow or white in the middle and move them to the edge using formula B. So here, yellow and white are left and right. Here is a white in the middle. I want it to be on top rather than on the front, so I flip the cube. So I keep yellow and white left and right. Doesn't matter which is which, as long as yellow and white are left and right. So here's my red, and white's on top. Second color is red, and so I rotate it so that make sure that the color in front matches the corners, and it does. If not, I would rotate them until it does. So matches the corners. White goes in this direction, rather than, so it's going to end up over here, and because it's going to the right instead of the left, it's going to be a mirror of B, but I still call it B. And because the two corners, you've got the row on top, and the two columns are where the QB is going to end up, which is over here, and where the QB begins, which is this one. So I'm going to use the top. This is my first, this is my second. First step is to move it, the action is happening over here. First step is to move it away from the action. So I move this away, first up, back, second up, reverse, away, down, back, second down, and there is the cube placed right there. Here's a yellow with blue. So I hold that cube and I move the blue corners to the front. I look and see I look and see which direction it's going. So that this is my first column, this is my second column. I start by moving it away. So away, first up, back, second up, away, first down, back, second down, and there it's placed. I continue looking for yellow or white. There's a yellow. I flip it so it's on top. It's red, so I bring the red corners to the front. It's going over here. I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, back, second down, and there it's placed. Nothing there, I'm nothing there. There's a white and a green. I'm going to work with the white and blue first. So I bring the blue corners to the front. I'm keeping the corners correct to each other because the corners are solved and they are the ones that telling me where the cubes are going to be. So where the edges are going to be. So blue matches the corners, white goes this way. So it's this column and this column where it ends up and where it begins. So I move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Now I'll work for this one. It's white is facing me. I want it to be on top, so I flip the cube. Yellow and white are still left and right. I bring the green corners to the front to match. It's moving this direction, so I move it away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Looking for yellow and white again. Here's white with orange. I bring the orange corners to the front. It's going in the white direction, so I move it away, up, back, second up, which places it next to it, away, down, back, down. Looking for yellow and white again. Here's a white and blue. Bring the blue corners to the front. It goes in the white this direction, so I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, back, second down. There's a yellow. It's in front, so I flip the cube so it's on top. Yellow and white are still left and right. Red corners, red matches the corners, and it's going to this direction, so I move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Still looking for yellow and white. There's a white and blue, yellow and blue. I know colors. It's in front. I want it to be on top, so I flip the cube. Again, keeping yellow and white left and right. It's blue, so I bring the blue corners to the front to match it. It's going in this direction because these ones have the yellow on it. So this is the first up. This is the second up. So I move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Anybody just looking? ABCube method. I created the ABCube method. It's mine. It's fun. Okay, here's a yellow and orange. So I move the oranges to the front. It's moving this direction. So the top. This is the first up, where it's going to land. This is the second up, is where it is to begin. So this is going. I go away, up, away, second up, away, down, back, second down. Just keep doing it with the yellow and white. Here's a white. It's on front. Flip the cube so it's on top. It's going in this direction. Oh, but first, here's a red. Blues are in front. I would need to move the red corners to the front. Otherwise, I would have displaced a blue. So, second color matches the corners. It's going in this direction. Move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Keep going. It's just more of the same over and over. Keep looking for yellow and white. 1, 2, 3. There's one. White is on top. Color is orange. Move the orange corners to the front. It's going in this direction. So I move it away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. All right. No yellow or white. No yellow or white. No yellow or white. Here's yellow and white. Okay, it's white and green. Flip the coin so the white is on top. Yellow and white are still left and right. I move the green corners to the front so that it matches. And it's going in this direction. So away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Yellow and white, looking for yellow and white, looking for yellow and white. Here's another one. Got yellow and green. Yellow's on top. Move the green corners to the front. Moving in this direction. So it's this column and this column. So we move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Looking. Here's another yellow. Flip it so it's on top. Orange is the front corner. Bring the corners to match. It's going this direction. Also, if I'm just going to interject this here, if this were already placed and this were the only one wrong, I would just take any piece and put it in here, which would move this out where I can work on it. So if you run out of pieces, yellow and white in the middle areas, but the pieces are not correct, you can move them out to where they can be worked on just by putting a garbage piece in there. So this column, this is the first column, this is the second column. Move away, up, in, second up, away, down, back, second down. I'm looking at the edges. Here's a yellow, yellow and green. Going in this direction, away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Looking, the edges, there's no more yellow or white edges, so then we look and see whether the yellow and white edges are correct, and they either will be, or some of them will be misplaced. If one of them is misplaced, then all you need to do, like if this is misplaced, all you need to do is just throw a garbage piece into that spot, which will move it out where it can be worked on in the middle area. So, step 1 was the corners. Step 2 is the edges. The first thing you do is the side opposite edges, the white and the yellow. Any questions? I should drink water. I don't have any water right now, but I have Gatorade. Okay. So, when the yellow and white edges are done, then you take your, I like the yellow, we're working with the yellow still, so I take the white edges and put them down. Boom. The white is now going to be down for the rest of the time I'm doing the edges. Now the yellows are correct, but we're going to be working, the Formula B moves an edge piece from the top to the side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an edge piece that's not correct, and I'm going to take a yellow piece that is correct, and I'm going to displace it so I can work with just one edge piece at a time. So which means that when the white is facing down, we're going to ignore everything on the top except for the one cube we're going to be working with. So I'm going to move this cube down so I can bring another cube up to the top where I can work with it. So I'm going to Formula B again. So away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. And so that moved this piece here and this piece here, which means this piece I can now work on. So I rotate the cube around. This cube is blue and red. Now we're now ignoring everything on the top except for the one piece I'm working on, and it's going to move this piece back and forth. So it's blue and red. I hold it on the top. I rotate the rest of the cube as a whole until the red corners are in front, because my colors, I want the corner color to match the front color to match the corner colors. And again, it's blue. Not going this way, blue is on this side, so it's going to go over here. So this is the first up column, this is the second column, so I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down, and we know that white's on the bottom, so we can follow the white to help us remember which columns we're working on. Turn it around, look at the cube, the one cube on top that does not have a yellow is red and green. So hold it onto it, move it so that the green corners are in front. Figure out whether it's going, which direction it's going over here. So I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. Look for the one piece on top that doesn't. Okay, and our yellow found its way back to the top again. It will, when your yellow will find its way to the top again, either it will be correct or it will be in a pseudo parity. Now, when it comes back to the top again, you look and see whether the edges are correct. This one is not correct. This one is not correct. They're not all correct. So we're going to keep working with this corner. We don't want to move it to this one. But we can move it to this one because this one is incorrect. Well, they both are over here actually. So we're going to displace this cube again. So we have we have edges we can work out from the top. So away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. This one is blue and red. It matches the blue corners. Moving to the red side. 1 and 2. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, blue and orange. Move the top hold it into the top, move so the orange corners match it. Do you have any questions? Okay. Moving to the blue side, so we move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. And here's the green and orange. Orange is in front, so we bring the orange corners to the front, and it's going in this direction. So away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. And the yellow came back to the top again. So now we look again. Do we see this side's okay? This one is correct. Okay, set it at the top so we can see it better. This one's not correct. So we're going to find a way to put. We can take one of our flexible bar pieces, a yellow piece. We're going to move it down so we can keep working. So away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Green and red, bring the green corners to the front. It moves over this side, so we go away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Am I going too fast, guys? I will slow down if I need to. Stay hydrated, okay. I hope this gives me a parity so I can show you what to do. Okay, bring the orange, bring it to cube to match the front corners. Orange matches the corners. This side it's going in this direction. Away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. And the yellows came back to the top. It's at the top, and now I look at it again. So this corner, these corners are done, these corners are done, these corners are done, these corners are done, and the top is correct. So I missed the parity on this one. If I did have a parity, these two would come back the way you saw earlier, where this one's supposed to be here and this one's supposed to be here. And the only way to undo the parity is just, this is the layer of the cube that is a quarter turn off. And so since it's only 4x4, this layer is the same as this layer, is the same as this layer. It doesn't matter which one, but just do a quarter turn and then solve the edges in that way, and the parity disappears. So should I keep going for the centers, or do you guys want to ask me questions? I just want to know how to solve the centers and the 3x3 state. Okay, I got it. Well, centers. All right. So I told you the entire cube can be solved using just formula A and formula B. Formula A moves your chosen color to the top, whether it's a corner or whether it's the center. Formula B moves any three cubes around. When formula B is always the top and two columns. When you use the outside columns, what formula B does is it works on the corners. When you use an outside and an inner column, what it does is it moves the center, the edges around. When you move two inner columns, it moves the centers around. So pick any cube that's wrong. Find any cubie that's wrong. Here's a cubie. It's white. It's on the red side. I'm gonna work on this cubie. So I need to move white to the upper direction because I want to move this color to the top. Okay. And I have misplaced my icky blue tack stuff to mark this cube. So I'm just going to mark it with my finger. So this cube, again, we're using the top row and two columns. We're going to start with where the cube, with this cube. We're going to move this cube to the top. Okay. We're going to move the top row so that it's in a different column. If we go this way, it's still the same column. So it has to go this way, so it's a different column. So this is the second up, moves it to the back. Then you reverse, down, reverse, down. Set the top and do it again. Here's the yellow. Let's work with this one. Bring the yellow to the top. Line it up so that whatever is going to come down is going to be advantageous, and the red's going to be advantageous. So this goes up, moves to a different column, up again to the back. Reverse, down, reverse, down. Set the top and do it again. Here's an orange. Orange is on the back, so it doesn't matter which way you do it, you're going to have to do it, move it twice. So let's move this orange to where this red is. Up, slide, up again to the back, slide back. You can see the white's telling you which corner we're working on, so you don't lose track. Okay, just pick any cube. Now, can you do formula A? Yes, for one of the cube, for one of the sides, but only for one of the sides, because when you do formula A, it messes up the other sides. So you can do formula A only for your first side, and I don't generally teach that. I just tell that you just pick a cube that's wrong. Here's a yellow, so it needs to go in the direction of the back. It doesn't matter which way. So I'm going to move this yellow up to the top, slide it over, second up, slide it over, down, back, down, set the top, and continue. Just pick any QB that's wrong. Here's a yellow. Yellow's on top. I line it up so that these cubes are going to switch. Actually, these three cubes are going to switch, but it looks like these cubes are going to switch. So I'm going to line it up so that it goes with an incorrect space, the incorrect QB. Go up, slide to another row, second up, slide back down, slide back down. Here's a red on the front. Red is on top. I can either move the orange or the white down. I don't want to move the white down, so I'm going to move the orange down. So I'm going to line it up so it lines up with the orange cube there. Go up, over, second up, reverse, down, reverse, down. So it's up, up, down, down, with the top going back and forth in between. So it's up, up, down, down. Formula A is out, down, and up. Formula B is up, up, down, down. Here's a white. White's on top. Line up the red so that it can come down. Actually, these three. It's not these two, it's these three. We're always moving three. So white goes up to the top, moves to a different column, goes up again to the back, reverse, down, reverse, down. Do I have any questions? I hope it does become famous. I'm really excited about it. Just like the void cube. I don't know if I'm missing comments. I'm just going to keep going. All right, so red, pick any QB that's wrong. Here's a white. I'm going to line it up so with the orange, so the orange can come down. Up, slide, second up, reverse, down, reverse, down. Set the top and keep going. Here's a green. Green's on top. This is a good one to come down, so green goes up, slides to a different column, goes up again to the back, reverse and down, reverse down. Set the top, pick another, doesn't matter, pick another corner. Here's a white. Match with them. These are this is the one that's going to come down. And it's going to come down right to here, not to here. So up, slide, up, reverse, down, reverse, down, and so these three. Here's a yellow on green. Let's put the yellow on top. It's going to go right here, so let's move the green piece there so it can come down. Up, over, down, over, down. Set the top. Okay. Okay. Here's a blue. It's going, I have to do it twice because once is not going to take it long enough. So I'm going to do it, I'm going to move it up, and then I'm going to follow this blue. So I'm going to take this blue. Blue is going to change with that cube right there. So it's going to change with that cube. So up, over, down, Just hit the top and keep going. So this blue, now I'm going to move it to the top. Line it up so that with the cubes up, over, down, And rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Just keep doing it over and over again until you run it, until everything is where it's supposed to be. Here's a green. I want to use a switch right there. I'm going to put the blue there so it can come down. Up, over, second up, over, down, back, down. Do we have any other questions? Here's a blue. These two cubes, these three cubes. You're going to see this blue is going to go up here, and the green, instead of, is not going to change with it, the green's going to go here, and this yellow is going to go over there. So we go up, over, up, reverse, down, reverse, down. Okay. It's going to land there. Line it up, over, up, down, down. At the top, keep going. Okay, line it up, slide down, slide down. Almost there, guys. Oh, exciting. Okay, up, slide, second up, reverse, down, reverse, second down. Okay, one more. Up, over, down, set the top, and we're done. Yay! Huzzah! It's the easiest method. Can I teach the 3x3? When I teach, I usually teach the 2x2, the 3x3, the 4x4, and the 5x5 at the same time. Because when I started teaching with the 3x3 or the 2x2, I started with just the 2x2. And I got the the corners done, and I'm like, okay, now let's go to the edges. And people were like, no, I really just want the 3x3 is the basic one. I just wanted to learn the basic one. I don't really need to learn all the advanced ones. Well, once you can solve the corners, you already know everything you need. And so it does not get more difficult after that. All you'd have to do, there's a parity, easy to solve. Just by one corner slice is all it takes to do that. So I always start people with the 5x5, and either the 5x5 or all of them, and I do the corners. Do the corners on this one. That's great. You do wonderful. Now do the corners on this one. Okay, that's great. Now do the corners on this one. You know, and I trade cubes from their hands. You know, and once they've done the corners 2 or 3 times. Then they were comfortable doing the corner. They knew the corners, and once you know the corners, you know the 2 formulas, and so you can do any other one. So I start people with the 5x5 because there are, well, you don't need any more formulas. There are different types of cubies that you've got. The 2x2 just has corners. The 3x3 has the absolute center as well, and the edges. When you go to the 4x4, well, you have other edges. You have what are they called? Wings now? I don't remember. You have different kinds of edges, and you have diagonal centers. And when you have the 5x5, you have the absolute center, you have the corners, you have the absolute edges, you have the diagonal edges, you have the absolute centers, you have the diagonal centers, you have the floating centers. For the let me do a floating center, for example. All right. Let's pretend that I have to. Let's move this white up to here. If it's the corner, you move it up. You have to move it to a different column, which can't be this way, so it has to be this way. Second up, down, down. But if you're working with the floating center, as it moves, let's see if we can. I'm going to move this white up to where this red is. I move it up. Have to move it to a different column. That works, or that works. So I can move it either way, as long as I move it to a different column. Then up and down and down. So the diagonal centers have to go a specific way. The floating centers can go left or right depending on whether you're making a picture out of the colors or not, and you want to know whether you want to switch it with this one or with this one. Okay, so questions. Do I have any questions? I have been speaking for a long time. I'm going to drink some more. Can I do it again to teach how to do the 3x3? Oh, the edges of the 3x3. All right. Here's a 3x3. I'm going to not do this. I want to keep the corners the same, so I'm just going to mess it up. Scramble, scramble, scramble. Okay, no, that didn't do it. Yeah, okay. All right, hold on. Out, down, in, up. All right, I'll scramble. And what is it you want to know how to do the edges for the 3x3? Is that correct? Okay, I'm going to get the corners where I want them. Sorry, I'm doing this quick instead of walking you through it. Just bringing the formula A, bringing the whites back to the top. Okay, so, all right, the corners are now correct to each other. At this point in time, we can just muscle the center into place if we want to. If we couldn't muscle it into place, though, we could do it if we're using formula A. Out, down, in, up. Okay, so you want the edges on a 3x3. I work with yellow and white. The edges go from the top to the sides, and I've been working with yellow and white for the corners, so I keep looking for the yellow and white. So I hold the cube so that the yellow and white corners are left and right on my cube. I look in the center area for anything that's yellow or white, that it can be placed outward. This does not have one. This does not have one. This has one. This is green and white. So I'm looking at white is the color I'm interested in, and I want it to be on top. So I flip the cube so that cube is still front and center, but the white's on top and the green's in front. My yellow and white are still left and right. It doesn't matter which way is which. So white is on top, green is the front face. I need to move the edges until the green corners are in front so that this color matches. So white is on top, green color matches the corners. It's going in this direction because white's on this side. So it's going to end up here. The two column, the row is always going to be the top row. The two columns are where the cube is going to end up here and where the cube begins here. So it's going to end up here. So this is first up, this is second up. I start by moving it away from the action so it can end up there. So I go away, up, back, second up, which places it to the back, away, down, back, down. And there it is. Here's a white on top. Second color is red. Move the corners so that the red is in front. Front color matches the corners. White is on top. It's going in this direction. So this is the first up, and this is the second up. I move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There it's placed. Here's yellow on top, blue. Bring the blue corners to the front. The corners stay with each other. Once you've solved them, they stay with each other. So Blue is in front color matches the corners. Yellow goes in this direction. So this is the first up where it's going to end up, and this is the second up where it begins. So I move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Here's a yellow. It's on the front. I want it to be on top, so I flip it. Yellow and white are still left and right. Yellow's on top, color is green, it matches the corners already. It's going in this direction, so this is the first up, and this is the second up. So I move it away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Okay, looking for the center, looking for yellow and white. There's no yellow and white in the center. So now I look, okay, are they done? No, they're not. Some of them are, they're not, but they're not where I can work with them. They're not in the center. So this one is incorrect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a cube into that spot, which will displace it out to the center so I can work with it. So using this cube, so I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, down, and there it is where I can work with it. So white's on top, I'm moving the blue corners to the front. This side is yellow, this side is white, so it's going this way. First, second, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Looking for yellow or white. There it is. Already matches the corners. It's going in this direction, so this is the first up, and this is the second up. So I move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Or not. 5 by 5 is too much. 5 by 5 is not too much. If you can do 7 by 7, you can do everything with just formulas A and B. Now you can use algorithms to speed things up. You know, if you're speed solving, but A and B gives you a general basic understanding of how the cube pieces move, so that you can be more intuitive with your algorithms later on. Okay, so white's on top. Orange, move the orange corners to the front so it's facing. White is this direction, so this is first and second. So we go away, up, away, down, back, down. Looking for white and yellow. There's no white and yellow in the middle, so now we look again. This side solved, this one is not. It's got one that's wrong. Okay. All right. Normally, I make sure all of the white and yellows are solved, and then I choose one to displace to work, so I can work with the sides. If there's only one left, I can just pretend that I can just skip that step and use this one to displace it. So I'm going to move this cube down so that I can find another cube. I'm working the sides. Oh, sorry. White's done, it goes to the bottom. That white will help you so you don't lose track of what you're doing. So this cube is not correct. I'm going to move it with another incorrect cube. If it was correct, I would still move it into an incorrect cube so that I can work with moving from the top to the side. So away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. I use my method only for 3 by 3. I use my method for 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. I use my method for the 3 by 3 by 9 with Eden cube as well. My method is for every cube. Just formula A, just formula B. If you have a parity is caused by a center slice being off a quarter turn. Do that and solve again, and your parity disappeared. Okay, so we're ignoring everything but the one cube we're working to place. The cube on top does not have a yellow, is blue and orange. I make it match the corners. It going to this side, so this is first, this is second. Away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Move the blue to the front. It's going in this direction, so this is first, this is second. Away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. And the yellow came back up to the top. And so we look to see whether the sides are done. The sides are not correct. So we're going to displace it again. We're going to displace the wrong cube again. Away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Bring it, orange cubes to the front. Green is this direction. Away, up, away, up, away, down, away, down. Okay, white and green, or red and green. Move it so the green matches the corners. It's going in this direction. Away, up, away, down, away, down, away, down. Just use the parity algorithm. And there's the 3x3. You just use, yes, you could use algorithms. I used algorithms. That's how I learned in 1981. And that's how I taught in 1981. But I discovered when I was learning the 5x5 that I am more visual, and so the arrows helped me more than the letters, the L, capital letter L, lowercase l. It was confusing that a R plus and an L minus were parallel, and it's easier for me to see the arrows. I started with 3 arrows for each step for the 3x3, so you could know which row to move, but that did not translate up very well. So if I was working with my 7x7, you know, it was easier to see that the arrow is the one row, one slice that you're going to move, and the black line represents everything else. So you're only moving one slice at a time. For the A, it's always out, down, in, up. For the B, it's always, for the A, for the corners, it's the bottom row and the right column. For the centers, it's the middle row and the middle column. It gives you boxes. So out, down, in, up. For this cube to move to the top, we move it out of the way. We move the space down, move the cube into the space, and the space and the cube back up again. So yes, this works on a 2x2, 10x10. It works on the 3x3x9, but with a minor adaptation for the 3x3x9, because you can't, when you move the top, it doesn't, you just one, you can't move it. So for the 3x3x9, for the B, everything you're doing is after you got is B primarily. Instead of using left and right, it's 2. So for the B, you would go 2 up, 2 second up, 2 down, 2 second down, and see what that moved. It switched these two, it switched these two, and it switched these three edges. Let's do it again. Up, up, down, down. Odd switch to the edges. An even number of moves the edges back. Do it again. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. So again, with that minor adaptation of the horizontals for the B is 2 instead of 1. You can work at this formula solves. It doesn't solve the square one. It doesn't solve shapeshifters. It doesn't solve. But if it's just a standardized, if it's n by n by n, it solves it. And plus the Wood-Eden one as well. Questions? Yes, you now know another method. Isn't that awesome? This method it's not the fastest, but I have found when I have raced myself using the method I originally knew versus mine, it comes out to about the same amount of time. I'm not fast. I'm a minute and a half, but it has the advantage of I don't have to look and see whether I need to use the clockwise algorithm or the counterclockwise algorithm. I don't have to remember which algorithm to use first because it's all the same. And I can, if I'm working, it only moves, because it's a mathematical zero, it only moves the 3 cubes I want it to move. Questions? Oh, you've never seen, you want to see the 3x9 again? There's 2 of them. This one, the yellow and the white, are just 9. This is the more advanced one, and this one, these ones can also turn as this way as well. But for the 3x3x9, scramble it, and then I hate to say solve it as if it were 3x3 first, but you solve it as you do the corners, and then the edges. And then by the time you've solved what would have been a 3x3, you'll have the yellows will be correct, the whites will be correct. This first little line here will be correct. So the top and the bottom line will be correct, and the middle line will be correct. And that's as far as you can go using just the 3x3 method. That's just how far you can get before you have to learn something else. And then you turn yellow and white left and right, and do the B, only instead of 1 turn, it's 2 turns. And then you work with the rows that you want to do. I move left to right, or right to left, because that's what my method does. So I solve the edges first, and then I solve the centers later. Questions? There are like a million edges on the 3x3x9. I love the 3x3x9. Okay, here's the thing. When I got the 3x3x9, I went online and tried to learn how to do it, because I did not know how to do it. And I literally spent a month doing a different YouTube tutorial every day, and I just could not figure it out. I just could not figure it out, and I'm like, I'm not smart enough for this. So I went and I got a 9x9. I think it was a 7x7. I got a big cube, and I said, I'm just going to pretend that my yellow and white can't move. And so I did the 2, and then I did it to see what happened, and I saw on my tame cube, my 7x9 cube, I saw what moved, and I looked at what I wanted to move. And so then I spent one day adapting, putting my B into method to see how, odd numbers, B doing odd numbers moves the edges. A B done even numbers leaves the edges alone. A B done 3 times moves the centers. And so I just was able to do that, and overnight, using my method, I knew how to do it in one day. That was after I spent a month watching other people's tutorials that I just could not. They're like, this is what's going to happen, so move your cube so that when that happens, it's going to be advantageous, and then do that, and then put your cube back and see what happened, what you need to do next. And I'm like, I am not that smart. I can't do that. Okay. Need to go and study. Hey guys, it was great. I know, 7 methods. Awesome. What's your, you guys, how fast are you? I told you how fast I am. I'm 1.5 minutes. I'm not fast. Tell me, how you guys speed cubers, or do you do it just for fun? Do you do it for the making pictures, mosaics? What do you like to do most with the cube? Go ahead and go study. I'm gonna end in about 5 minutes. I just want to see how you just learn a little bit more about you guys. The guy that sold me the computer so I could start doing this, I told him I was a cuber. He's like, "Wow, how fast are you?" And I said, he turns out he can say he can solve the cube in 11 seconds. The guy that sold me the computer, he's 11 seconds. I am old enough though that I saw the first world's record broadcast live on TV for the 3x3. I watched it. I was under 5 minutes at the time, and I watched the first record, and everyone was under. You couldn't even get on the show unless you were under a minute. and I saw the first person 23.42 seconds, I think it was. I might be wrong, but it was like, I put the cube down and I just left it for a month. I was so upset because I knew I could never be that fast. Jeffrey Varasano was the first world record holder. He's a really great guy. You can find him online. He owns a pizzeria now, and he's still, kids still come into his pizzeria and they have their cubes, and he will play with their cubes with them. He'll make his cube match theirs instead of making theirs, and he has a tutorial, but his tutorial, his mind is so amazing. I can't follow it very well. He's very intuitive. He's just like, okay, do this to get it on top, and then make a turn, and then just reverse what you did. And I can't reverse what I did unless I've written it down. So I did see the very first world record on TV. I'm amazed. I'm just blown away at how fast it is. And now the first world record, we didn't have speed cubes like this. We had the clunky Rubik's brand. They were, and you could only, you could not do so and so many turns per second. You could just just turn it. So 23 seconds from back in 1981 was very impressive. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. And I have typically set a goal of being here Fridays at 5 and Saturdays at 10 Mountain Time. Sometimes I solve, sometimes today I was just showing what one of my first earlier methods of the cube before before I got it into the computer. So I thought I'd share that with you. I'll probably do that sometimes as well, the steps of how I got here. For example, I'll go over this next time. This is a spreadsheet for doing the corners. You start with no pattern, you do these things, and you end up with this pattern. Then you flip the cube over and do it again. So I will go over these because I think they're fun to see where I came from. And in the meantime, you guys, this has been great. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all next time.